In this video, I'm going to be breaking down Sam Millsap's funnel and how he's able to generate over $400,000 every single month being a coach's coach. Now, that's an inside joke on his brand, so if you know, you know. However, this has been a highly requested video. I posted a story on my Instagram asking people whose funnel should I break down next, and Sam's name came up quite a few times, hence I'm making this video in the first place. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. My aim by the end of this video is to help you understand how his funnel works, how he actually converts people, and how his marketing strategy actually works into getting people into his funnel. Because unlike most other people that I've covered on my YouTube channel, he does not convert purely through YouTube, and I'm gonna get into it right now. So speaking of YouTube, let's just dive straight into this, shall we? He's got about 6 videos on his YouTube channel, not that much. The last one was 3 months ago, and even then, in the YouTube description of that video, he has a WAP link, which you can't actually join the community, funnily enough. And then also from a YouTube video from 6 months ago, he has a link to his landing page, which doesn't even have a VSL anymore. So he doesn't even have a video sales letter anymore. And these buttons all just lead to a type form, which I can imagine just allow you to apply. And that is pretty much it. But what I'm getting the hint of is that this landing page isn't really being used anymore. This isn't his main funnel. So if this isn't his main funnel, then what is? Before I get into that, all of the people that I've been covering on my YouTube channel, all of them have been converting purely through their YouTube channel, and that's been like the biggest game changer for them. However, Sam doesn't actually do that. As I said, he's only got 6 videos on his YouTube channel, and he's not even trying to convert. So this is actually a very out of the ordinary kind of funnel breakdown, which makes it 10 times more exciting. And I'm able to actually show you how he's able to convert people purely through his short form content as well. So here we have 2 Instagram profiles. Now, I don't know, obviously this is his main one, and I don't know if this is just his second one or this is like a fan one, someone else running this. I assume this is him running this because obviously I haven't seen this picture anywhere, and it's been posted, I think, like 2 or 3 days ago in the time of me filming this video right here. However, he does have a link in his bio, which is like the limitlesspersonalcoaching.com webinar registration. And he also has a main account. He's just adding his main account. And he also has In God I Trust. Now, Sam, I'm going to get into it just a little later. But Sam always speaks about God, Jesus Christ, just, his religion and his beliefs. And I'm going to get into why that could be powerful, why that could be very, very good for marketing as well. But let's just take note of that for now. However, he has a link which also goes to another landing page. Now, this is a webinar landing page. And the last free training was on, oh, oops, that is huge. The last free training was on the 26th of February 2025. So this was in the time of this recording, pretty much 2 months ago. Or just a little less than 2 months ago. Of course, you can't actually register for this anymore. If you click any of these buttons, he'll just say that this webinar has expired. So you can't actually register for the webinar anymore. So if I was him, considering he has actually been posting on this page, I would definitely change this link in his bio because it doesn't really lead to anywhere. However, he has an @ of course, to his main account. So if we just go to his main account, this is his main account, 374,000 followers. If we break down his bio, he's the #1 consultant for online coaches. As I said, he's a coach's coach. And then he's also helping coaches scale from from $0 to $50,000 per month. And then he also has a CTA, which is the ME coach for my step-by-step. Now, I've covered what CTAs are in a lot of other videos. If you don't know what that is, it's basically just a call to action. It's in the actual phrase itself. It's basically calling you to take a specific step or a specific action in order to, I guess, activate or trigger a response. So, of course, he's telling people to DM him coach. Once you DM him coach, he'll usually take you through a follow-up sequence. Now, just before I get into the nitty-gritties of his follow-up sequence, let's actually take a closer look at his profile. It's got about 595 posts. He doesn't actually look like he's hiding his reels, which is actually kind of a good thing. But then we see that he has the limitless reviews. So these are people who have gone into his coaching program and they've just left him reviews. And he's obviously leaving all of that on his story highlights. Now, why is he doing that? Because people will go into his profile. He's not necessarily like really selling on his profile. He doesn't have a link in his bio or anything along those lines. So what people will do is they'll click on this highlight. They'll usually click on these 2 highlights. And they might also click on this highlight as well, right? And also this one. And all this is doing is just giving a bunch of credibility. Why do we need credibility? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, if people are going to be buying from you, they need to know that what you're doing is actually helping people. So he needs credibility, okay? And then he also has Q&A 3, Q&A 2, and Q&A 1. Now, why does he have these Q&As on here. You probably might be wondering, why does he, let me change the color for these. Why does he have these Q&As? Well, essentially, the whole point of these Q&As is kind of like the same as having like a free community or something like that, where people get to hop on a call with you for 1 hour per week and you get to give them value whilst also CTAing to your coaching program. This is the exact same thing he's doing, but in his story highlights. I think it's absolutely genius. I don't see a lot of people actually doing this in the space, so it's pretty unique. But what he's literally going to do is answer your questions, give you value, and then maybe every couple of stories he will CTA, because there will be people saying like, oh, what's your coaching program? Or do you have a coaching? Or are you a mentor? Do you mentor people? And he will use those questions that people ask in his stories to also push people to DM him the word coach. He's not going to push for a link. I think in results 2, the first story highlight is actually pushing to a link, which is his landing page, which in his case, I would probably get rid of that. However, to these Q&As, he's probably just saying like, and if you want to learn from me, just DM me coach and I'll walk you through to see whether we're a great fit or something along those lines. Now, for his actual profile posts, he has 3 pinned posts. And in all of these pinned posts, what he basically has is a CTA kind of telling a story, giving some credibility, also giving some showing off some authenticity, because that's what people want. Essentially, if people want to buy from you, they need to know, they need to like, and they need to trust you, right? They get to know you through all of these story highlights and through the stories that he's obviously posting and through the story sequences that he's going to know. Then they're also going to get to like you through just seeing you a lot on their screen. And you also speaking about how you've retired your parents, you're spoiling your girlfriend, your wife, your spouse, how you're also just doing good things for the world. You're not just a guy who only cares about money. You have a human side to you. And when people see that, they start to like you. And that's very, very important. You want to get them to know, like, and trust you. And by the way, before you're wondering why do people need to know, like, and trust you, it's because they need to buy, like, they need to know, like, and trust you before they buy from you. Because if you don't have any of these, they won't be able to buy from you. They need to know you because, I mean, they're going to give you their money. They need to like you because if they don't like you or respect you, why would they even listen to you in the first place? And they need to trust you. Why? Well, I mean, this one's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, like, if you're going to give someone your money, especially if you're going to give 4 figures, you better trust them, right? Then the second pin post that he has is just basically him giving away value, speaking about his life, and speaking about perhaps just experiences that he has had. And also in the caption of that post, he also has a DM me coach where people are able to obviously CTA to that and react to that. And then last but not least, he also has a testimonial pinned to his post of someone who's speaking about how they were in A position and now they're in B position. Their life is so much better. Sam has helped them turn their life around, and showcasing one of his best testimonials that came from one of his students. And he has that up on his post. Why? I mean, again, for credibility. He needs the credibility. I mean, how are you supposed to sell without credibility? And then in his Instagram posts, he usually just does like Q&As and answering people's questions and comments. And then he'll speak about his points of view. Why? Because that's going to allow people to know, like, and trust you. This is exactly what Andrew Tate did. This is exactly what Luke Belmar did. This is exactly what Iman Ghazi did as well, where they speak about their points of view, their beliefs, and they are so, I guess, controversial to some extent, to where a majority, or not the majority, but like a good percentage of people won't agree with it, but then also a small minority will agree with it. And those that agree with it are going to side with you, and they're going to be like, damn, he thinks just like me. And that is so, so powerful, because that gets people to know, like, and trust you. And this is exactly what Andrew Tate done. He started speaking about how men are lonely and how it's really competitive in the male world out there compared to the female world and stuff like that. And men started listening to him and they're like, oh, he's absolutely right. No one's ever said stuff like this before out on the internet. He's brave. I respect him. And that's exactly how he went viral in the first place. So that's kind of exactly what Sam is doing in these reels as well. But I mean, he's not obviously trying to go that out of the way like Andrew Tate did. I think he's just more trying to be in his own lane. So we're going to get into this golden line in just a second, because of course this is the polaric pathway as we established on the channel. But then he also has TikTok. Now, on his TikTok page, he posts pretty consistently, doing basically the same type of content. He's answering people's questions, giving his points of view and beliefs on, things that he has done and things that he has tried and the lessons that he has learned. He also has a DMB coach to get started, which is another CTA. So what's different to all of these people that I've covered on my YouTube channel is that a lot of these guys funnel to a landing page, or at least to their YouTube, and from the YouTube to a landing page. Sam doesn't have that, and he's not doing that. There is no landing page. What he's doing is DMB coach and not this one, sorry. DMB coach here too, right? So why is he doing that? Because that allows him to have more grip on his sales process. And I'll get into exactly how it works. I'll break the entire thing down. But then also, if I sort his popular videos, or if I sort his TikToks by popular, you have ones where he's speaking about spoiling his girlfriend, or you found it racist, I found it funny, that's why I'm happier than you. Things like, as I said, that people resonate with. People will find this funny, and some people will not find this funny. And when it's controversial, when you get those people that side with you, now they start to know, like, and trust you because they're like, he thinks just like me. And of course, he's been in the space for quite a while. I'm pretty certain he was a fitness influencer, getting brand deals and selling like fitness programs. But then, of course, he's pivoted into coaching coaches as well. But nonetheless, like, he's posting stuff like this as well, like with his spouse. And when people see this, they start to resonate with that. Like, damn, this guy actually has a heart. He's not a guy who just sits in his office, sells courses, and makes money and feasts off his audience. He's like, oh, he's a guy with a heart and a bigger purpose than just business and making money. Because when people see a human side to you, they now start to know, like, and trust you. I know I keep referring to this, but that's how it works. And of course, he's mainly just utilizing short form content. He's not really focusing on YouTube or anything like that, which is pretty rare to see nowadays. But now look, I DM'd him coach on his TikTok and he started replying to me. Now, I didn't want to waste his TikTok appointment setter's time, but then also I DM'd him coach on Instagram. Now, I DM'd him coach. He said, yo. I said, yo. And then he took quite a bit to reply. Obviously, it's not him. This is definitely an appointment setter, by the way. But he said, appreciate you reaching out. Are you actually interested or just curious on starting your own online coaching business? And I said, I'm already running one. Senior Reels got me hooked. Obviously, I'm going with the flow. He said, yes, sir. Very good. Sugar, bro. I'm trying not to swear. It's Lent. I'll just ask a couple questions to see if you qualify for my program. And if everything checks out, I can set up a call with my business partner to go over everything. Sound good? Said, sure thing, man. Of course, what he's doing right here, he's just laying out the expectation. Very, very normal. You usually have this on sales calls as well. The closer will be like, all right, so the whole point of this call is we're going to go through on exactly what your situation is right now, what your desired situation is, and if it seems like a great fit, more than happy to break everything down for you and then see whether we're a great fit to work together. Sound good? And then the prospect will usually say yeah, and they'll dive straight into it. So this is just sets out the expectation, and it also sets out the fact that he's going to hold frame in the conversation to some extent. That's not some cringy dominant alpha stuff. This is just basic psychology. And I said, sure thing, man. He said, awesome. So how old are you? Where are you based? And what do you do for work? These are like 3 questions, which is interesting. I don't usually see people doing this. I usually ask 1 question at a time, only because loaded questions just allow people to not really answer. But I guess he's also not asking for much. He's asking for literally 2 numbers, usually, unless like you're under the age of 10. And then, where are you based? Which is going to be like 1 to 2 words max. And then, what do you do for work? Which is also going to be a few words. So all I said was 20 years old, UK, currently started running a coaching business a couple months in. Of course, a lot of the stuff I'm saying here isn't true, by the way. I'm just going with the flow. He said, okay, so you're running it full time? I said, yes, sir. And he said, respect the hustle. Let's say I was to help you scale your online coaching and you started crushing it. How much would you want to be making monthly 3 to 6 months from now? What he's doing here is obviously he's just setting out, or he's putting the balls in my court so I can set out my own expectation and desire so he knows where I want to be. And all I said was doing at least mid 5 figures per month, probably getting a car upgrade too, lol. Obviously, I want to seem human. And then he said, gotcha, give me a set figure you're looking to make so we have something to work towards. And I said 40K per month, question mark. However, just before I continue, realize how he is saying like A-H-H, so you are, he's also saying, gimme, not give me, but gimme. He's speaking like a human. And that's very, very important. As an appointment setter, or even if you're a coach training your own appointment setters, you want to make them sound human. Because if they don't sound human, guess what? People will sense that you're just too formal, too businessy, and they won't really want to listen to you. Those are definitely solid goals, to be honest. Achieving 40K per month is doable. Where do you think you need the biggest help in making that possible? I said structure, perhaps, and client acquisition. He said, I've got you covered from A to Z, bro. Time and dedication are going to be key, but you obviously got to spend money to make money. Now, this one I'm a bit iffy on. I don't exactly agree with saying you got to spend money to make money. I think it will turn a lot of people off just hearing that. They'll be like, it just sounds a bit too salesy. It's kind of like a sales rep. It's like you saying to a sales rep, I can't afford something, and him saying like, Yeah, man, but you just got to spend money to make money, right? You're going to stay in the same position for the rest of your life. Like, you don't do that as a sales rep. As a sales rep, what you have to do if you want to close someone is you ask them the questions, not tell them stuff. So it's interesting that he says that. But then he says, how much you got set aside to invest in your online coaching business if I was to help you get started? Good credit helps as well. I said, my current coaching is doing around 6K per month. 95% profit margin, I have enough to invest. So here I was actually trying to be just a little cheeky and a little difficult because I'm not going to give the answers he wants straight away because I just want to see exactly how he handles them so I'm able to share it with you guys. And he said, solid. So how much do you plan to set aside? I said I could do 5K easily. Easy. He said, gotcha. And my final and most important question is, how do you plan on setting aside time for building your online coaching business? I mean, I told him earlier that I'm full-time into what I do, so I'm not too sure exactly why he was asking me this question. I'm sure he was just following SOPs, but I just said, by just doing what I need to do. Not too sure how else to answer that question, haha. He said, all right, man, I don't see why I shouldn't give you a shot. Are you free for a call today? And if so, what time suits you? I said, anytime, so after 3 hours, blah, 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 blah. He said, gotcha. I'll get you on a call with my business partner to go over everything with you. I just need your full name, email, and phone number. So, of course, they're collecting this so they can collect my dates. By the way, none of this is real, so don't think you can call me or email me. I just wrote. But he said, can you do 10 p.m. UK time, bro? I said, yep. He said, solid. I've reserved the time for 10 p.m. UK. It's not 100% confirmed until you WhatsApp my partner. Alex's number, +1, blah, 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 blah. He's my top guy. He's expecting your message right now. So go ahead and shoot him a text to confirm the call and introduce yourself. Now, of course, I didn't do that. I'm not going to waste that sales rep's time. Also, while I was just quickly editing this video, I did get followed up by his setter as well, saying, yo, Matas, Alex is waiting for you to reply. And then about 2 hours later, he also sent me another message saying, also give this a watch before going on a call, which is just an evergreen Loom video made by Sam, which is basically saying, like, please show up on to the call on time. Please show up on a laptop as well. And then you have been chosen out of like the 300 people that message me every single day for this opportunity to be able to scale your coaching business. So please take this seriously, as this is going to be a big, valuable change in your life, and so on and so forth. And that's basically what he does. He just basically sets the expectation, sets the bar, and also hypes you up for that call so you know exactly what to expect to gain from that call. And that is just a way of nurturing, as we've gone over nurturing sequences in my YouTube videos before. But that is also another thing that he sent over to me as well. But essentially what you would do here is he would just hit you up. I also got this email. This is a real email. If you want to email me, it's literally spam. Doesn't matter. Don't really care. But all in all, I got the invitation to my email. Now, what will usually happen right after that, once that call is booked, is I'm going to get put into an automated reminders email sequence. So I'll get reminded 24 hours before, 12 hours before, 1 hour before, and 5 to 10 minutes before the call. I'll usually get, well, this is how I set it up for my clients, I'll set up the automation to send an email 24 hours before, send an SMS message 12 hours before, send an email and SMS 1 hour before, and send an SMS 5 to 10 minutes before saying like, hey man, I'm about to hop in a call. Let me know if you're up for it. Just so, you know, it kind of seems more realistic. I also probe for like replies on the emails and even the SMSs, just to make sure that, you know, I don't get flagged or end up in spam, and 2, just so, you know, they're interacting, so I know they're actually interacting in serious. Now, if you actually want to copy the workflow, I've literally just taken a screenshot of my exact GHL workflow that you can copy. Is email confirmation, wait 5 minutes, then send an SMS confirmation, wait 4 hours. So this is 4 hours after the call is booked. Then I'll send an SMS video watched confirmation, and then a wait 1 day before the call, email 1 day before, then wait 12 hours before the call, send an SMS, then wait 1 hour before the call, send an email and an SMS 1 hour before, and then wait 5 minutes, and then send one more SMS just before the call happens. Now, how do you actually set up the hands-on system? So you usually need a setter or an SDR that will basically be calling them within 1 to 2 hours of actually booking in the call to confirm and qualify you. So I'd usually get somebody calling me straight away saying like, hey man, I just saw that you booked in a call with Sam. Is it cool if I just ask you a couple of questions before you actually hop on a call with us today? And then what he'll do is he'll just basically qualify me on that call, see whether I'm the right fit. And if I'm the right fit, he'll obviously put me on to going ahead with that call if I'm qualified. And he may also send me over some resources for me to have a look at, which will in most cases be Sam's YouTube videos, so I can hype myself up and warm myself up on his brand to potentially working with him as well. Now, one more thing is, of course, when the sales rep takes the calls is he will fill out a sales tracker. This is the exact sales tracker I give to my clients. We fill in the date, the name, the channel that they came from, so whether that's Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, anything along those lines, how much we pitched them, what was the end result, whether it was a close, whether it was a no-show, a reschedule. As you see, it's all on the top. So we have an unqualified, we have a no-show, we have a reschedule, no close, and a closed. And of course, everything's calculated. So the unqualified rate, the no-show rate, the reschedule rate, the closing rate, and then the total calls taken, and the total cash collected as well, and whether it was a PIF. So we want to track how many PIFs, just to track the quality of leads. Then also the closed amount. So the pitch amount is how much you pitch them, and of course how much you close them for, whether it was a PIF or not. The recording link, what are the emotions? Now this one's actually something I learned from Charlie Morgan, but I've always implemented, monitoring the emotions of the reps, because not that it's gonna have a huge impact, but it's more like for them to track on their patterns and their thinking and emotional patterns, to really master which exact emotional state to be in to be most optimal for closing. So you'll see that when they start filling this in, 3 to 6 months down the line, they're going to look at it and be like, damn, I've always lost deals when I was frustrated. And sometimes I lost 6 deals in a row and I was still frustrated, but then I decided to calm down and perhaps meditate, and then I was able to close the deal right after that. And once they catch these patterns, you're able to obviously make the changes in correlation to closing more deals, and therefore you're able to just track exactly how you can close more deals by just monitoring your emotions. And last but not least, notes and then contact info, just in case we need to hit them up or anything along those lines. Contact info, that's like obviously email, phone number, stuff like that. So that's how we do it. And obviously we have June, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, blah, blah, blah. Then obviously money tracker as well. And of course, when you put the closed amount, this goes into cash collected. And then we also have a yearly overview, which you go into, and it will show exactly how much money was collected at each month and also by the end of the year. All in all, I think these messages are all being answered via ManyChat or Respond.io or some external CRM. The only reason I think that is the case is because every single time this guy has replied, it didn't actually show me that he's seen my message, which usually means that he has an appointment set on his ManyChat, not usually on his account. If you're a coach, you can get a setter just on your account or anything along those lines. It's not really that big of a deal. I do it myself, but if you have a bigger team, then perhaps ManyChat or Respond.io might be your best bet. Other than that, if you're a coach and you want me to help you install these exact type of systems to help you scale to 6 figures per month, I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can book in for a free one-on-one audit call with me. I'm going to literally give you a funnel audit, go through your entire conversion system and see if there's anything I would improve, and perhaps see if maybe we would even be a great fit to work together, and if I could implement my teams and systems into your business to help you scale to multiple 5, if not 6 figures per month. So I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can check that out. But other than that, that's basically the end of the video. I thank you for watching till the end, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.